Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for Alphascape version 2.0. This is the second newest raid encounter made available by patch 4.4 in Final Fantasy XIV, Prelude and Violet. I don't know about you guys, but these raid fights are getting longer and longer. You could even say they're starting to drag on. Ha! My name is Ms. Tech and I'll be your raid guide. The most important and difficult aspect of this encounter involves watching the boss for specific tells. Anytime Midgar Summer draws in ambient aether, players need to be very attentive to the movement of his body. This movement will determine his next big attack, allowing players to pre-position for what would otherwise be too fast of an attack to react to. His two possible movement tells are a horizontal spin and a vertical flip. The boss will always go through two of these movements before the attack is cast. On normal mode, there are only 3 combinations of movement tells to look out for. If you see a spin, followed by another spin, he will cast a point-blank AoE attack. Players will need to pre-position outside of melee range as soon as that second spin starts up to dodge appropriately. If you see a spin followed by a flip, he will cast a massive donut AoE attack. Players will need to pre-position inside of his hitbox as soon as they see that flip to avoid getting hit. Lastly, if you see a flip, followed by a second flip, he will cast a large cross-shaped AoE across the platform. Players will need to move to the safe zones in the corners to dodge this. Getting hit by these attacks will deal high damage and place an assortment of disgusting debuffs on you, so I would recommend always paying attention to the boss's movements throughout the entire encounter. As the encounter progresses, you'll notice a number of other mechanics that will be weaved in between the boss's movement tells, but don't let that fool you. Now that we know what we're looking for, let's go through the encounter. We begin with a double spin attack, and all players will need to move out of melee range to avoid this. Next, he'll do another double spin attack, followed by marking up players with Earthshakers. Players will need to move out of melee range, but also spread apart from one another to avoid overlapping damage. This is followed by a player being targeted for Akmorn. The group will need to stack up to share the initial and subsequent hits of Akmorn. Next up, we'll face a spin flip combo. All players will need to run into his hitbox to avoid the attack. He'll cast this spin flip combo one more time, followed by 4 players being marked with these purple AoE circles. Players will move into the hitbox to avoid the AoE attack, and then spread their markers apart to avoid excess overlap. Immediately after, 4 AoE circles will appear on the ground. Move out of these as necessary. Next up, we'll deal with the first double flip attack. All players will need to move into the corners to avoid getting hit. At this point, 2 players will be targeted with ice markers. These will leave behind pools of ice that will slowly grow over time. Ideally, you want these drops somewhere out of the way of the raid. Another double flip combo from the boss, and players will need to dodge into the corners once again. Be careful not to step in the ice puddles while doing so. Eventually, the boss will disappear and then reappear on the edge of the platform. He'll start casting CAUTERIZE, dive bombing across the platform directly in front of him. All players should move out of his way. At the same time, a number of orbs will spawn around the platform and throw out large column AoE attacks that must be avoided. Next, a number of immortal keys and 1 ancient dragon will spawn. The keys will tether to the dragon and render him immune until they are destroyed. To handle this phase, players will need to destroy each key before destroying the dragon as quickly as possible. The dragon has a large frontal breath and will periodically deal raid-wide damage. Tanks and healers beware. You have until the boss charges his Aether Gauge to 100 to destroy the dragon, or you will wipe. Get ready to heal through Proto Start, and then the boss will return to the platform. Tail End is a heavy-hitting tank buster on the main tank. Cooldown and heal through this is necessary. Next up, a number of Exaflares will spawn from one edge of the platform. These will slowly move across the platform in a straight line until they reach the other side. Since these appear in a staggered order, an easy way to dodge these is to run to the first one that spawns and then quickly dip in behind it as it passes. During this time, AoE circles will also appear under players, so make sure you dodge those as well. Northern Cross will form thin ice over the platform, causing players to slide uncontrollably in the direction they move in. He'll do another double spin or spin and flip combo. Depending on his movement, players will have to move in or out of the hitbox to avoid this appropriately. RAHL will target the ground under random damage dealers, and they will have to quickly move away to reduce damage. Next, a double flip, and players will need to move into the corners to dodge the incoming attack. Players will also be marked with the purple thunder AoE circles during this time, so be sure to spread these apart. Eventually, he'll fly away and reappear on the edge of the platform. Players will need to avoid being in his path while dodging the incoming Exaflares. He'll do 2 CAUTERIZE dive bombs here, so be sure to adjust appropriately. The boss will return and throw out another tail combo, followed by another set of Earthshakers. Next, players will have to dodge out of the circle AoEs while stacking up to share Morn. As you can see, the same mechanics are beginning to overlap with increased difficulty. Cooldown and heal through another tank buster, and then players will have to deal with another Northern Cross slippery platform while spreading out the purple thunderstorm markers. Another set of ice markers will target 2 players, and these should be dropped away from the group. Another round of exaflares to dodge, and more AoE circles to move away from. Remember that the ice patches are still growing, so watch your step. During the next Northern Cross, the boss will throw out another Tel combo, and players need to be ready to move appropriately. Another set of RAHLs will target the damage dealers, followed by another Tel combo and more AoE markers to spread. At this point, the boss should be close to dead. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Up next, we'll head into Alphascape version 3.0. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.